All right. Hello, fellow classmates of World Religions with Mr. Carvalho. My presentation is going to be over indigenous religions, focusing on the dream time or eternal time of the Aboriginals from Australia. You watched a video on them, so you have some basic knowledge. So first I'm going to define dream time. I'm going to start with the quote. The dream conjures up a notion of a sacred heroic time of the definitely remote past, such a time is also still part of the present. So the dreaming, as Mr. Garvey said, is a web. It connects them all. But there was a time when all the spirits, all their ancestors, what they actually were, the spirits, created the animals. Some meant shape-shifted from humans to animals. Some turned into rocks. Some turned into plants. So it's basically their creation story. But I don't want you to think of it as a Garden of Eden, because if Garden of Eden is a myth for Christians, and it's also a definite time is over. It's a definite time in the past. The dreaming still continues on, and the Aboriginals are still trying to connect with the dreaming. It was an age of heroes when the ancestors did marvelous things that men can no longer do. Marvelous things, like I said, turn into animals, which sadly we can no longer do, although that would be awesome. Another definition, here's a quote from the information about the dreaming or the law. You can read that. Dream time is more than just a creation story. In that time in the past, when humans could turn into animals and plants and rocks, that was the creation story. But dreaming is also the idea that all ideas, all actions, all traditions were passed down and continued on by the dream time, because the dream time still continues. The dream time, it's everything for them. Like eating is dream time. How they get their knowledge of how to hunt, how to fish, how to build houses, how to paint. They say that all comes from their dream time. It is their life. Here is one of the creation myths, the Aboriginal dream time. It's about the rainbow serpent. I'm not going to read it for you. You can read it. It's pretty interesting. It's a beautiful story about how they explain how everything came to be. There's many of these stories. This is just one. There's rainbow serpent. We heard in the video about the crocodile, and the rock, and the sea eagle. So there's many of these. They're all very interesting. This is just one example that I found on. If you just type in the rainbow serpent, you'll find it on the internet. So more about the Aboriginal beast. The Aborigines have no gods, just to educate the world. I don't want you to think of these spirits that turn into animals as in plants and rocks as gods. They're not, because these spirits are actually their ancestors, because humans are derived from there too. So what we would think of gods, I don't think fits to what they would think. They believe in, you can think of the dreaming maybe as one eternal God, but that might be a stretch too. So these spirits aren't gods, they are ancestors. Gives a new meaning to respect your elders, I guess. And then when they die, as we saw in the video, all their bones were piled into one cave. That was just one example of Aborigine tribes. Some of the tribes don't have caves nearby, so they have different beliefs. But when they die, they join their ancestral spirits in perfect harmony with nature. That's what they're striving for during their life, and that's what they get in death, is perfect harmony with nature in dream time. Representing dream time. So here's a quote from the Missered of the website, the Aboriginal Dream Time. You can read that. But to represent dream time, they do many things. Like I said, everything they do is dream time. Hunting, fishing, sleeping, eating, building. That's all part of the dream time. But some things are very spiritual. So the quote is about how some of the Aboriginal tribes use totems. These totems connect them to their clans, to their ancestors, to those spirits, and so it connects them to their dream time. Each clan has their own totem. Sometimes each person or family has their own totem. But not all tribes do this. Others do paintings on bark or cave drawings, as we saw in the video, or others do ritual dances like the Wujal Wujal. They have some pretty interesting stuff you can find on YouTube. They're part of a big festival in June, or was it July? Sometime during the summer in Australia, and they do some very interesting dances. An example of the tribes that use these totems would be the Wurundjeri. Dreamtime is not what I'm going to call separation of lives. That would be the opposite of Dreamtime. Mr. G said compartmentalizing. Dreamtime, everything is together, everything is continuous. So what we think nowadays, I think we get into a habit of separation of lives between church life, school life, and home life. We act differently at school than at home, or we put a difference between spiritual life, like praying, and homework. We find that different. But to the Aborigines, everything is the same. Everything is derived from the same source of Dreamtime, so everything has to be connected. And then how do I connect with the Aboriginal way of life? I think it is very beautiful and wondrous, and I wish that I could connect with the land the way they do. I don't have too much in similar with the Aboriginal, but I want to be more similar with the Aboriginal. I want to have more harmony. I want to have more continuousness in my life. I don't want to have the difference between church life and home life. I want to feel the same spiritually. And then what have I learned from the Aboriginals, from these people that some people would call them primal or primitive? I don't think they are at all, because they have taught me so much about how they connect with nature, about how they respect their beliefs so much. And that it's sad that their beliefs are dying out. And I hope that I never have to deal with my beliefs about to die out in my life. So, thank you for listening. If you want to check my sources, or if you're just interested in Aborigines, or you have questions, you can look at some of these websites that I used, or you can come to me and I will try to answer all your questions with my very limited knowledge of the Aborigines. Thank you.